Wow, applause. Isn't this nice? Well, as you know, I'm delighted to be here with all of you and those of you who tune in later on after the live event. We welcome you as well. And it's September. I think it's, at least here in the United States, it's back to school month if it didn't already start in August. And this is a strange time for back to school. My 4-year-old grandson started kindergarten remotely. I mean, this is, homeschoolers have been doing this for a long time, but most of the world has not been. So we all have our adjustments. Some of us have to balance children and work and home and everything together. But I say we're doing great, and it's not always easy. But I'm so grateful that you carved out the time to be with us today or later on when you're looking at the archived version. So today I'm delighted to have Elizabeth Frederick with us. I met her when a friend of a friend connected me with somebody who knew her, and this is how things happen. We're all 6 degrees of separation, don't they say? And so I met Elizabeth, and in chatting with her, I realized that we had something really deep in common. And I found out even though her title is senior advisor and financial advisor to Criteria for Success, an active sales related organization that teaches people how to really get their business out there, and they do very well with it. But we had something much deeper in common other than the wish to be successful. And that was our interest and fascination and perhaps our obsession with gratitude. And I even found out that she had written an ebook called Grateful Leader. And when I saw that, I said, you're lucky you didn't call it Grateful Leadership, or we would have had a copyright issue here. But she called it The Grateful Leader, and it's a fascinating little ebook. And thank you, Elizabeth, for making it available to all of our viewers and listeners. So we'll tell you how to get that later. But let me welcome you, Elizabeth, and go through your wonderful presentation. I've seen all the points you're covering, and I'm excited about it.
All right, thank you so much, Judy, and thank you, everybody, for participating today. As Judy said, if you were to look at my name, my title, the company that I work at, you might be confused about why I'm talking about gratitude and grateful leadership. It doesn't maybe seem like it makes sense. I'm with a company called Criteria for Success, and we're a sales growth partner. We help companies that are successful, but have maybe stalled when it comes to growth, get the processes, the tools, the systems that they need to get to the next level. And so we do sales training and management consulting, and we build sales playbooks with our clients. I come to gratitude from two perspectives. First of all, personally, I've experienced anxiety and depression, and as I was doing research into ways to be happier, ways to be healthier, ways to improve my experiences in my life, I kept running into gratitude as a topic that came up over and over and over again in terms of how it's helpful for people who are looking to improve their lives. And then I was working with a specific client who wanted to improve their leadership team. And they wanted to really implement a leadership training program that would help build a better culture and make everybody more effective at working together and better at giving feedback and better at interacting when they had had historically a mistrustful atmosphere. One of the key elements of the training program that I put together for that client was building a culture of gratitude and practicing gratitude as a leader to really impact the way that their organization experienced it. So as I was doing that research, I put together that ebook, and it's been really interesting exploring the scientific aspects of gratitude and how we can take those and use them to really change our lives and change our organizations. So I want to start with some gratitude. I want to actually thank Judy. It's been wonderful getting to know her over the course of the last year or so. I actually had her as a guest on our podcast, which is called Let's Talk Sales, and we talked about gratitude. And I had the opportunity to speak at the Leadership and Innovation online conference as well. We talked about how you can nurture an innovative team. I really want to also express gratitude to Roxy. She has been incredibly helpful in facilitating this and helping us all prepare. I know we all got to see how she helped everybody get on track when it came to audio and video and making sure we were connected. And just having her foundation really makes everything easier for the rest of us so we don't have to worry about the technology. I want to thank somebody who used to be on our team, who just recently left, but her name was Laura Marchoff, and she is the one who helped make this happen and coordinated it. And so I have just a lot of gratitude for her, and I actually emailed her earlier today to thank her for that. And I want to thank all of you for showing up, and I'm thanking you in advance for participating, because I do not want this to be just me talking for the next 20 minutes. This is intended to be an interactive conversation. But I want to set that context of gratitude because it's just so incredibly important. So this is probably a simple question, but I really want to start with this. What is real gratitude? So often when we hear the word gratitude, we just think of somebody saying thank you, right? Or good job. There's such a big difference. Let's say you were working with somebody. It could be a coworker, it could be an employee, it could be even a superior in your team. And what's the difference between saying great job or saying thank you and saying thank you so much for contributing to that project? I know it was outside the scope of your responsibilities. You had to work a little bit late, and you really stepped up, and I really appreciate that contribution. Think of how much more meaningful that second one is, because you actually reflected on what you were grateful for and communicated that instead of just that fluffy kind of high level thank you or good job or nice work. It's so easy to give that kind of mindless, they don't even mean anything really at this point, elements of gratitude. But if you can really connect to what you experienced, what you appreciated, and communicate that to somebody, it's incredibly more powerful. So what we're talking about here today is that real gratitude. This isn't just pats on the back. This isn't just smiles for people. This is real gratitude that you're reflecting on and communicating. So I want to start with the benefits of gratitude, because this is something that is, in the research, it's been demonstrated to provide a significant impact on both your life and the people around you. So this is based on research done by groups including Harvard, the Mayo Clinic, and the National Institutes for Health. So the first one is deeper relationships. This is a pretty basic. We're going to start kind of simple and get a little bit more complicated, but I'm sure we all understand this. We like nice people, right? We like kind people. And when you practice gratitude, you're going to be perceived by people around you as being kind and being positive. And that makes them more likely to like you and trust you and open up to you in a deeper way. In a similar way, you're going to have improved collaboration. If you think about it, let's say you want to work with somebody on something, and the one time you work with them, they bring you into a project, and you both work really hard, and neither of you really expresses gratitude to the other one for the work that you put in. They're less likely to want to work with you again in future because they don't feel that sense of appreciation. They don't maybe feel that you care and contribute and value the contribution that they made. And so if you consistently are providing gratitude and sharing that with people, they're more likely to want to contribute because they see that they're appreciated, and we all like to know when we're appreciated. When it comes to coaching and advice and mentorship, it's kind of the same thing. If you have a mentor or an advisor that you've worked with and you don't express gratitude over time, it's easy for that relationship to kind of fizzle out. They feel like they're giving you a lot of themselves and you're not really giving much to them. And one of the easiest things that you can give back to a mentor, whether it's a very structured coaching or mentoring relationship, or whether it's just somebody that you enjoy a relationship with and provides advice, consistently giving them feedback and gratitude on what's working and how you're experiencing it. Again, that real gratitude, that thank you for that specific tip that you gave me. I was able to apply it in this situation, and it really changed the way I experienced the situation. That's an incredibly powerful gift that you're giving that person by just sharing that simple gratitude. Next is feedback and reviews, and this is so common as leaders especially, because again, we're talking here about grateful leadership. We have to give people feedback, and usually a lot of the feedback we have to give is constructive, right? Sometimes it's hard to remember to congratulate people and praise them for the good work they do because we notice the mistakes that they make and we want to point those out. And so one of the best ways that you can balance that necessary constructive criticism is by providing gratitude and positive feedback. I actually have an example here from a client, so I did bring little materials. We had a client years ago called EP Minerals, and it's a mineral company out in Utah. And they had a little principle called the EP Way. And so they had about 30, 30 different elements that represented the EP Way. And one of those key elements was celebrating success. And it talks about acknowledging people doing things right is more effective than catching them doing things wrong. Learn to receive as well as to provide and ask for meaningful appreciation in all directions throughout the company. What they actually did is they took this EP Way and they, every single day, had a different person at the company share an email that went out to everyone on the team with one of those points, the EP Way, and then their interpretation and their perspective on it. And the messages about this specific point, which was point number 21, were so incredibly powerful because people were sharing what they were grateful for. They were sharing how they had experienced gratitude from other people and what they got out of it. And it's an incredibly powerful way to build relationship with people and to make sure that you're supporting them. Next is motivation. It's been proven through research that when you give people gratitude and that positive affirmation of what they're doing right and how it's helping you, that increases their motivation to do those same things again. Again, it's like when we were just talking about collaboration. If I do something for you and I don't feel that you appreciate it, I'm less likely to want to work really hard to do something again. I'm just going to slowly kind of maybe get a little bit demotivated. And so just simply providing that true, honest, real gratitude is an incredibly powerful way to drive that motivation. Related to that, you see increased creativity. And people come up with more and better ideas because there's a positive culture that is open to ideas and open to feedback. And that drives improved decision making. One way that they've determined that gratitude can drive improved decision-making is if you have a culture of gratitude, there's a stability, there's a comfort, there's a certainty that you know what you have, that you're set up, that things are going well, and you're going to react from a less stressed position and be able to make slower, more rational, more reasoned decision because you're coming from a place of gratitude as compared to a place of scarcity. And then finally, this is one of the reasons that I came into this work on gratitude is better health. Everything from stress and your cortisol levels to depression, to anxiety, to hypertension, to blood pressure, to heart disease. Improving gratitude, developing a practice of gratitude demonstrates, you see demonstrated improvements in so many areas of your health. So all of these benefits are things that you experience, just yourself, by developing a practice of gratitude. But that doesn't transform your organization necessarily, right? Instead, that's why I love this organization, the Center for Grateful Leadership, because if you can practice gratitude as a leader and you can build a culture of gratitude in your organization, you're going to take these benefits and take these wonderful experiences and actually translate those across your entire team. And you can improve your employees' health and improve the way that they collaborate and work together and provide advice and motivate each other and make decisions. And so rather than keeping all of these benefits for yourself, you're going to be spreading these benefits to the rest of the team. So I want to actually start, before we jump in, I'd love to hear some examples from you. This is, again, where we're interactive. I thanked you in advance, so please. What are some of the personal benefits that you've experienced of gratitude, maybe of your personal practice of gratitude? Or where have you experienced the benefits of having a grateful leader? Or have you been part of a grateful team and you've seen gratitude in your culture? So I'd love to see either verbally, if you're comfortable speaking up to unmute yourself, you can do that, or just share in the chat and we'll respond. It looks like Ceciliana is typing.
Roxy, are you going to moderate this, or are we just going to go?
You can just go.
Go ahead, jump in. Jump in, Jim.
Okay. Hi, Elizabeth. This is Jim Trella. One of the things, and Judy, I know that I've spoken of Aaron previously. Aaron is my former
Yes.
manager, and he's recently moved on to another part of the company. But one of the things that I've noticed, he was a true grateful leader, and what happened with that, in that situation, I developed a deep level of trust with him quickly because of his gratitude for the work that people were putting in, and that whole culture changed our group.
Absolutely. Just one grateful leader can have such an impact on the entire team. Thank you, Jim, for that example. That's wonderful. Does anybody else want to share? It's okay if not, but I always love to hear from people.
This is Kathy Cast in
Hi,
Houston,
Kathy.
Texas. Hey, sweetie. I appreciate what you're sharing. It sounds so similar to what Judy's 5 Cs are.
Absolutely.
And the other lessons that she has for us throughout her book. But whenever I have seen gratitude make a difference is whenever people are unmotivated, as what you were discussing earlier, and then all of a sudden you just recognize or acknowledge one little area where they're excelling, and they just explode with joy, and they get that so much harder because they had the opportunity just to be seen. Someone saw me. Yay! Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Kathy. I've seen that too. I worked with a client, and this was in the energy industry, and they had one internal team that felt like victims because they were given a lot of grunt work, a lot of really difficult projects, and they didn't feel respected. And when they got a new manager who just expressed gratitude to them, it was amazing to see the way that they just approached their jobs completely change because they experienced that real gratitude. And it didn't have to be, you get a car or, a huge bonus of thousands of dollars, but just knowing that their work was noticed and appreciated was incredibly powerful to drive increased performance. And, it was measurable in terms of the numbers and the results, but just the looks on people's faces walking into work on Monday morning and walking out at the end of the day compared to how it had been before. The conversations that you'd hear in the lunchroom, very different when you had that culture of gratitude. So that's kind of why we want that culture of gratitude, right? It makes sense, and we've seen that. It was great to hear the stories and examples. But now I want to talk about how you can actually extend that culture of gratitude into your workplace to really transform things. And so the most important thing is to begin with a personal practice of gratitude. Sometimes it's easy to think I should do things to people, right? I need to make my people be grateful, which is almost an oxymoron when you say it. It's really hard to make other people be grateful. But one of the most important things that you can do is be a grateful leader yourself, and other people will notice that. It will change the way they interact with you, the way they experience the job and experience your company, and then they will almost naturally begin to practice gratitude themselves. So there's 4 simple steps to building a practice of gratitude. The first one is reflection and meditation. This is really basic. This is literally just thinking about what you can be grateful for. So taking time throughout your day, whether it's in a very structured way or an unstructured way, to really think about what you're grateful for. If you're doing it structured, it could be when you wake up. What are you grateful for in the coming day? If you have a prayer or a meditation practice of any sort, thinking about adding gratitude to that. Maybe taking breaks throughout the day, at lunchtime, thinking, what am I grateful for? At the end of the day. It's always a nice way to kind of tie a bow on the end of your day so you can transfer, kind of transition from work mode into home mode, especially now that so many of us are working from home. You want to end your day, right? So you don't feel like work is trickling into everything. And one of the great ways to do that is by reflecting on what you can be grateful for. This will also help you reframe situations. Let's say you go through a difficult time or something doesn't go right. If you can really reflect on what you can be grateful for in that difficult situation, you went through something challenging, but you can find something to be grateful for, that reframes it in your mind. So for example, I will share a personal story here. I had a root canal last week, and root canals are not something I think people are normally very grateful for. But what actually happened was I had been in a lot of pain, and I got an initial appointment, and it was just supposed to be for a consultation. And then they ended up getting a cancellation for the time slot right after me, and they could just do my root canal right away. And I am incredibly grateful that they fit me in. I'm not in pain anymore, and I didn't have time to get anxious, right? So just reflecting on what was at the time a pretty negative situation of getting a root canal, I have gratitude for how it went and what I could experience there. And it's reframed that experience in my mind, and I look back on that root canal with gratitude, which is not, I think, the perspective that most people might have. So the next practice is really natural, and it can be a basic, simple outcome of that reflection practice. It's just journaling. Most studies that have been done on gratitude as a practice have used gratitude journals as the foundation. It's just really simple. You write down what you're grateful for, right? Again, that could be really structured, or it could be loose. You can find gratitude journal templates that have prompts and questions. Some people find that really helpful. Some people just have a note that they keep open on their phone or a notepad somewhere where they just write things down. I've seen people write it on the back of a daily calendar that they flip over, whatever makes sense for you. It's easy if you have that practice of reflection to just take what you just reflected on and thought about and write it down. So it really ties well to that first one. The idea of review is really important. Reflection and journaling happen in the moment, but review is when you look back at what you've journaled, what you've reflected on in the past, and what you have to be grateful for. So often, we go through a stressful or a difficult situation, and we're caught up in that current moment. But if you have a journal of gratitude from the past, looking back on that can remind you of all you have to be grateful for and all the things that have gone right over time, and it puts you in a more positive mindset. In a work context, it's really helpful before you go into a team meeting or before you have a performance evaluation to get yourself in a mindset of gratitude. Thinking about the person that you're going to meet with, what are you grateful for about them? How have they contributed to you? And coming into a meeting, maybe even a difficult conversation with somebody, if you can think about that, you're going to come in a more positive way and wanting to contribute rather than negative or combative. So all of those three, reflection, journaling, review, those are pretty internal. They're happening within you, and that's helpful. That is going to change the way you show up and the way people experience you. But if you want to change the way you interact with people, you need to actually share gratitude. And so that could be simple or complicated. I loved last month's session, which was with, I wrote his name, Doug Conant. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He was the CEO of Campbell's Soup Company. And in his tenure as CEO, he sent 30,000 handwritten thank you notes. Some of you might be able to do that, right? I keep actually thank you cards in my purse in a little envelope when I used to go out and, use my purse, not my purse that's on a shelf, with stamps nearby. And that way, if I have something that I think of, I can just write it quickly and send it because everything is available. Having a drawer maybe where you have that can be really helpful. Thinking about ways that you could share gratitude with your team, maybe opening team meetings with a moment of gratitude, maybe opening one-on-one meetings with a moment of gratitude. I had one client where they had been through a really significant change initiative, and all the leaders really stepped up and worked really hard. And the CEO decided to bring the leadership company to his weekend home in Pennsylvania. He brought in a professional chef to cater a dinner for them, and they just had a wonderful experience where he was sharing his gratitude for the time and the effort they had put in and really opened up. And the way that excursion brought the team together, it's been at this point 14 years maybe since that happened, and I can still remember the feeling of being there as part of that group. We have another client, and this is a management consulting client, and once a quarter they bring as many people as can come together in person, and they welcome new employees and they congratulate people who've had babies and got married and all that other stuff. But one element every time they have that quarterly meeting is the CEO gets up and she shares what she's grateful for from the past quarter. And this is things they've experienced as a company, things individuals have contributed, and it's such a powerful way to establish that meeting and really set things off on the right foot. She actually records that for the people who aren't able to attend. And going through that library of recorded messages of gratitude is just an incredibly powerful exercise. So I want to actually take a moment as we wind down here. And I'd love for you to actually go through this exercise. So first of all, let's take a moment to reflect on what we have to be grateful for. And really just think about what we have. And I've got prompts for you that can help you if you're struggling. So maybe something good that happened to you today or this week. That's easy. Maybe people that you're grateful to and what you're grateful for. Again, you don't want to just think of a person's name, but really thinking of an example, like Jim shared earlier about what he was so appreciative with Aaron. Something in the future you're grateful for. You can actually take the practice of gratitude and pull the future into the present by thinking about something that's coming and being grateful for that future experience. Maybe something around you in your physical environment that you're grateful for. I am grateful for my cat, who sometimes is super annoying, but it's just nice to turn my head and see her out of the corner of my eye. That's something I didn't get when I was working in the office. So often we're down on ourselves. We can think of all the things we do wrong. Thinking about something about yourself that you're grateful for. And then finally, something silly you're grateful for. My example here is peanut butter M&Ms, which I have taken extensive advantage of over the course of this period at home. So I'm seeing in the comments, Harry mentioned being grateful role models and professionals and demonstrating that to leaders, embedding a thank you email, wishing people a good and safe Labor Day to key managers. That's wonderful. And just really expressing to people just how you appreciate them and being grateful for the projects and the work that you have. Thank you, Harry. Who else has an example of gratitude?
I just have to say that I'm so grateful to every single member of the Center for Grateful Leadership for wanting to take on this work and to bring it into their organizations, their families, their communities, and those who show up every single time, like those of you who are here. I am particularly grateful to all of you because I know what our days are like. And those who don't show up or who can't show up, I'm grateful to them too because they are still carrying this forward in their own way or they would not continue to be members. So
definitely. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to the people who will see this video in the future, even if they can't be here today.
Yes.
All right. Ceciliana is grateful to her husband for helping make her dreams come true, for food on the table, her son for his love and kindness, these sessions to remind her to be kind and grateful every day. Thank you so much, Ceciliana. That is beautiful. All right. I know we're pressed for time, so I apologize. One last thing. So modeling gratitude is incredibly powerful. That is going to change your culture. People will see it. They will appreciate it like Jim did in his story earlier. But you can also actively solicit gratitude from your team. So ways to do that might be at the beginning of a meeting saying, you know, I'm grateful for this. Who else has a moment of gratitude to share? If you have Slack or Basecamp or you use any sort of a chat platform, you could set up a thread for people to share moments of gratitude and even tag their coworkers when they're grateful for them. If you have, we work with sales teams and they often have structured goal setting and planning templates and having a section in there to identify areas of gratitude. It's if you have an office in person, some of people still do that. Some people will again in the future. It's so often to see a complaint box or a suggestion box. You can have a gratitude box too with slips of paper beside it, and people just write things down and put them in there. If you can solicit gratitude from your team in a very intentional way, you know, from asking them to reflect, asking them to journal, asking them to review, and asking them to share, you'll see an exponential growth in the improvement to culture that you're seeing from your initial grateful leadership. So thank you guys so much for your contributions and your time today. And I welcome if you have any questions. I know that we also need to move on to the next speaker. So.
Elizabeth, that was a phenomenal presentation. You have really crystallized this. And like I said, I didn't know when we were first introduced that you had such a passion for it. And thank you for being open enough to share with us what propelled you toward this. Depression and anxiety can be great motivators. And especially during these dark times, we really need to find things that wake us up and cheer us up and that we can help others with as well. So beautiful job. And we have just a moment or two for questions because I want to introduce another speaker in the next moment. So any burning questions for Elizabeth?
Actually, I
Or
just had
not so burning? Yeah.
a quick
Go ahead,
point.
Tim.
Let's see. Two things that came up during this. He used two very key words in here. The first one being people feeling valued. When you acknowledge someone, they feel valued. And then also another one is respect. They feel respected. In those two ways, you can do so much to help people that aren't necessarily motivated, aren't necessarily, engaged, but that means so much when somebody says, wow, they really realize who I am, they know who I am, and now I can actually go and I feel more motivated and I feel more engaged to do things. That was great. I just had to bring that up, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that was Jim, and that's so incredibly important. A lot of times when we think of people in jobs, and I think especially in these COVID times, when we're looking at what we now recognize as essential work, people maybe aren't being compensated with high amounts of money. There are a lot of difficulties. Just showing respect and appreciation and value can go a long way. Now, people obviously still need to be paid, but it's a way that you can even just provide that gratitude to people that, I thank the checkout people at the grocery store every time I go there, because if they weren't there to do their job, I would not have food to eat, and I would be very sad. So providing that gratitude is something that we can always do to people around us, really expressing that value that we receive.
And I just want to thank Roxy for her beautiful comments in the chat. Really, really special. I take them to heart. And thank you so much, Roxy. Yes.
Thank you, Roxy. That's beautiful.
Expressed. Yes. Okay, well, I want to go on. Elizabeth, thank you. Please stay with us. You'll enjoy the next part as well, parts. And I want to introduce our next speaker today. We are delighted to have Catherine R. Kest with us. She is the district leader, or the previous district director of Toastmasters International, District 56. Lots of applause there, Kathy. And she did something amazing that I have asked her to come and describe to you. And then we're also going to show a little bit from a video we enjoyed doing together last week. So go ahead, Kathy.
Thank you so much, Judy. Can everyone
Yes.
hear me? Yes? Yay! I had the privilege of being a leader in District 56 as a Toastmasters leader, and the privilege is we get to choose someone in the world that we consider to be a communication and leadership expert that is not necessarily a Toastmaster. This year, I was honored to choose Judy Umlas. The reason I chose Judy is not just because of the books that she's written or the grateful leadership team that she has assembled, but also because of the thousands of people that she touched, the thousands of lives that she's changed. I think she's spoken to over 100,000 people about grateful leadership, but also the people on the street corner. This one really touched my heart. And she would just sit down beside someone that was homeless and ask to hear their story. How many people actually do that? I thought that was absolutely phenomenal, and for those reasons and many, many more, I chose Judy Umlas to receive the Communication and Leadership Award from District 56 this year. Yay! Go Judy!
Thank you, Kathy. It was such a wonderful experience. And I have to just say that Kathy is not just the previous leader of District 56, but she also is a Grateful Leadership Certified Instructor Level 2. And I am so proud of you. And that was, you'll hear that story. We're going to play a little clip from our awards ceremony and presentation. So Roxy, and if you really beg me, you can show the award. And go ahead, Kathy.
Start this off
Thank
by
you.
telling you a little bit about Judy Umlas and I and our walk together. Back in the day, I think it was 2016, a little bit earlier than the 2018 Judy that we have, because I think it was that long ago, or maybe even a little bit earlier. I went to a class called Grateful Leadership at MD Anderson Cancer Center as a project manager, where I heard the concept or the idea of acknowledging others. When I heard it, it just was magic to me. It was amazing. And I have formed a friendship and relationship with the author of that book. What? Judy Umlas has been around the world saving lives, literally, with her message of knowing and acknowledging and caring about people. We get to hear from Judy today, so please help me welcome District 56 Communication and Leadership Recipient 2019-2020, Miss Judy Umlas.
Thank you, Kath.
So glad you're here.
I am too. And I am so humbled and inspired by this incredible award. I, unlike a lot of you, have known about it for months. I was supposed to be there with you face to face, but this is wonderful because I've been able to invite so many of my wonderful colleagues and friends and family, and I know a lot of them are here today. But Kathy, I really want to direct these words of acceptance of this great honor first and foremost to you, because yes, we met at MD Anderson, and at the end of my Grateful Leadership course, you came up to me and you said, Judy, you looked me right in the eye. You said, Judy, this is my life's work. You've got to certify me to become a Grateful Leadership instructor. Wow, that was a message I could not refuse. So you can all hear this if you want to have the whole, I think it's an 11-minute video. We were so thrilled. I was so thrilled to be there, Kathy, and just the way you brought it about, I'm forever grateful. And I'm also grateful that you said that now that your district directorship is over and complete, you're going to be coming back to Grateful Leadership. So I'm thrilled about that. Not that you never dropped it for a moment, because Kathy made the power of acknowledgement and Grateful Leadership the theme of her district for the whole last year. Anything you want to say in closing, Kathy? Because we have other wonderful people here who have done major contributions. So I want to share those too, but go ahead.
Thank you. I would love to just mention our district is 5,000 people strong. And one of the opportunities I had was going to a club where they acknowledged every single role and every person in the meeting of 30 people. In one session, they had a literal red carpet that people would walk down. Crazy. They gave flowers, awards. They did everything they could think of to make sure that everyone in that club knew how special they were. And they didn't recognize them only, they acknowledged them as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. It's happening in our district. I have seen it happen repeatedly. Our, I think it's called Hall of Fame that you were a part of, Judy. Our Hall of Fame was better than anything I've ever seen because people took the lead from acknowledgement examples and did that for each one of their members. Each person that worked with them, they acknowledged them. It took us 3.5 hours, which was forever. But the acknowledgements just poured out of people's souls, and I loved seeing that example of the leadership that you started, Judy Umlas. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, and you have blazed a whole new trail, Kathy, and that's what every single person here in this webinar, in the Center for Grateful Leadership, is capable of doing and committed to doing in their own way. And some of you wanted to be certified. I just have to jump to something very, very cute. Roxy, can we just show the badges? I'm not sure I can find them. Yeah, I'm going to jump ahead because we have created several different designs. There are people here that are certain. Jim Trella is a level 1 certified Grateful Leadership professional, as is Susan Parenti. Kathy is a level 2, and we have other people also, but we're just so proud of you. We want you to have this. You can put it on your LinkedIn profiles. We're going to let the recipients of the certification decide which is going to be the design. But of course, if you want to vote, it could be A, B, C, or D. We have those choices. So, Roxy, you want to do a quick poll of what people like? Or let's see, can we? Well, don't worry about it. We'll go on to the next contribution. Or which badge do you like? A, B, C, or D? All right, and the people who are certified get 2 votes. This is cute. A. Well, only one person has voted so far. Okay. So it looks like A and B are the most popular right now. But we're gonna ask the actual recipients what they like. What, Jim? Go ahead.
Can I see B and C? I'm trying to figure out what the subtle differences between these two are.
It's design. It's mainly design. But you're going to get this in an email, Jim, so don't worry about it. You'll actually get to really vote. But that's just a fun thing, because we think you need, something to show what you've accomplished. And I love, I'm trying to remember who it was. I went to her website, and I think it might have been Stephanie Henko, who had on her profile, Stephanie Henko, Grateful Leader. I mean, people are starting to, absorb this and want this. And if they're a certified professional, they deserve it. So, wow, look at that. All right. I think we like A the best more. But again, the recipients will be the actual determinants. All right. So before we move on to our current collaborators, I just want to say we are making available, Elizabeth was kind enough to make this ebook available, and if you just send an email to Roxy, we'll get it to you, okay, if you would like it. And Roxy, if you could put your email address in there, that would be great.
Absolutely. And I was going to ask Elizabeth,
yeah,
is it okay to send out the download link she sent to us to just our members?
Oh, that would be lovely.
Absolutely.
It's okay.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Roxy. We'll talk that one through, but I think it's a great idea. Now, this is Harry Waldron's famous monthly acrostic, Get the Right Attitude Through Gratitude. And we have this month, being Labor Day, Harry made the point about all over the world, different countries celebrate their workers, their laborers at different times, but we wanted to do this now. And Harry did his wonderful acrostic, which spells out, "Thank you, team." And if you haven't read them before, you just have to start. They're like a burst of energy, and he captures the Grateful Leadership Initiative so perfectly in every line of this. Just look at the word team. Take time to learn the art of grateful leadership through podcasts and webinars. Encourage members to stretch that skill set and grow professionally. Allow twice as much time to listening than talking. Anyway, it's just beautiful. So thank you, Harry, for those wonderful contributions. And Don Officer is another amazing contributor. Now, Harry's taken on a summary of Don's articles because we want people to get the gist of it before they go to the actual very thorough and almost academic, but very hard-hitting connection to grateful leadership. And Don, do you want to say a few words about this month's contribution? Humankind. I love this. This is really amazing. Can we hear from you, Don? Well, while we're waiting, just read you Harry's summary of this. He's digested the article well. He says Rutger Bregman is a young, active Dutch author who sees mostly positive elements in humanity. And, there are a lot of bad things that, one could document, but there's the inclination to be good human beings, and that connects very deeply to what we do in grateful leadership. I'm sorry we can't hear you, Don.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yeah,
Sure can. Go ahead.
I noticed the page format had changed, so I couldn't find the microphone connect button. Okay, basically, this is a great little book, which kind of surprised me because it starts out quite innocuously and looks like a pleasant little read, and it is a pleasant little read, but it's full of some very, very powerful ideas, and I think it's worth a read, both the book and I hope my summary of it, I guess, because we often don't realize just how deep and how broad and how meaningful gratitude really is. And we often think we're doing great work and doing wonderful, positive things, and we're not exactly. Our intentions may be good, but we may be missing the boat. So a little deeper thought may be called for, and also explore your own feelings, because sometimes you may not feel that. You say, well, I'm going through the motions here. How come? What's going on? It's a powerful tool, as we all know, and it's worth some serious attention. I guess that's the best way to put it.
That's wonderful, Don. And, whoops. Let's see who's echoing. Are we okay now? Oh, very good. Thank you, whoever was turned off the mic. But anyway, Donald, thank you for writing this erudite paper. I mean, you have put, I can't imagine how many hours do you put into one of these articles? This one. How many hours did you put into well, we won't count the reading of the book unless you want to. The reading of the book, a different book every month, the research, the writing. How many hours do you put into this every month?
It just started and flowed, and if I'd had spent more time, it could have been shorter. But
I love that.
But I just wrote it like that, and then cleaned it up and sent it off. Yeah.
All right. So a minimum with the reading of the book and the writing of the article, a minimum of
I guess
I don't know,
8 or 9 hours. I guess. Yeah.
Oh, I bet more than that. But anyway, great job, Donald. We're honored to have your contributions each and every month. And then Roxy.
Just wanted to say quickly, I'm grateful for the opportunity because I learned so many new and interesting things.
Well, that's terrific. And, that you always connect them to grateful leadership is really an honor. And I love the way Harry Waldron is now crystallizing, that connection right up front. So, people will still read it, but I think they'll want to read it now even more, knowing what the gist of it is. So we have a great team here. It's really amazing.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so Roxy, you want to just give us your article summary? She had a few extra things to deal with this month. I won't go into the details, but tell us what the next article is about and when we'll have the real thing.
Okay, yep. I will have the article up by tomorrow, and when the recap goes out, I will have the link, in the recap.
Great.
As Judy mentioned, this has been a wild and crazy month, and with changes, kids are very resilient, and they deal with changes well in the long run, but initially it can be a challenge, and finding new routines and new ways to do things that they're not used to doing them, especially in a family like ours, which is heavily reliant on routines that don't change. And so this last few months, especially with starting school, has been quite a challenge for all of us. And we have found some, cute little ways to find gratitude in a totally new environment for our family, and starting new and unusual routines, and some tips to keep your kids on track even when things seem really hectic.
That sounds great, Roxy, and we really are eager to read it. I often share your articles with my daughter, and I think you've really identified some implementable ways. They're quick, they're easy. I loved your article last month of 10 tips for creating grateful adults out of your current children. That was pretty amazing. So thank you for that.
Compliments on that article, so I appreciate that.
Good. And any one of you who resonates with any of the articles or contributions from the Center for Grateful Leadership, you have our permission to share the articles, to spread the word about how really committed our contributors are. And we're thinking of adding some new regular contributors. If you ever want to be one and you're not already one, please let us know. Kathy Kest, maybe you'll rejuvenate your, Kathy's Corner. Remember the stories that you would tell? She's such a great storyteller. So think about that. All right, you've got the real estate is still yours.
Thank you.
And yes, and Bob, almost if you can ever figure out how to do a connection to Excel and Grateful Leadership, you just let us know. You could create some kind of an Excel formula for a wonderful acknowledgement. How's that? Give them choices. I got his mind ticking. All right. Okay, so now any questions, any contributions that you want to make at this point? This has been such a rich and exciting session. I'm just thrilled with every single person who came today and presented today and collaborated today. This is amazing. Yes, thank you, Ceciliana. It was a fantastic session. I have to agree with you. And Ceciliana, just tell us or text to us a few words about your new book that Wiley is publishing, with reference in it to the power of acknowledgement and maybe even the Agile Grateful Leader, written by Susan Ferrante, that wonderful article. So with Susan's permission, of course. So if you could just text us a little bit about the book and what we can look forward to. It's more of a technical book, but it's I think it sounds like it's going to be written in a very human way. Elizabeth, thank you again for being here today. This was a wonderful session. I think you really contributed a lot to everyone, including me. You really gave me some new thoughts and ideas as well.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful to meet this group and hear all of your stories and examples. I really appreciate this opportunity, Judy.
Our pleasure. And come back every month if you can. We'd love to have you.
And just a reminder, on our website, on the webinar page, if you have missed Elizabeth's Leadership and Innovation Conference presentation, it is phenomenal. and you can get access to the registration and a discount for the conference from our website on the webinar page where Elizabeth's information is.
Thanks, Roxy. Okay, so we're officially ending the session now, but Roxy and I will hang out with anybody, and you know, if you want to just share informally, or if Bob wants to tell us a joke after this is over, that's his prerogative. So lovely to have you all. Bye-bye.